kosher, it's Glatt. You're listening to Glatt. Glatt. It's all Glatt.
Welcome to Glatt. It's an all-new podcast brought to you by Kosherdotcom and Fleishigs magazine. We are the husband and wife team behind Fleishigs magazine.
Shlomo Klein.
Yes, I was going to introduce you.
Klein.
This is my husband, Shlomo. He's the COO of the magazine, Chief Operating Officer. He does so much.
This is Shifra Klein, the editor-in-chief of the magazine, and together we publish the magazine, and as much as I do, Shifra does much more. I think we need like a separate episode just to explain what we do and how we got into this.
Yes, but the bottom line is we are all about celebrating the kosher lifestyle and bringing people together through food. And we do this through the pages of the most stunning magazine. I think I've been hearing it so much, so it seeped into me. I have to say it. It far supersedes anything that is on the market. When we were written up about in the New York Times, they said it's the kosher Bon Appetit, but we heard from our readers that it's better than Bon Appetit. And, you know,
we feel that way too.
We'll take it. And we do, we produce the magazine in the studio that we're sitting in today. And we decided to do a podcast. I mean, we've been talking about this for how many years?
I think 2 or 3.
I think 3
Could
because
be 3.
It's been since
right
Zev was
COVID.
born.
Oh, right.
Yeah, 2022. Because we really wanted to bring the pages of the magazine forward in a different format. And there's nothing like a podcast. And because Kosherdotcom is so in line with our values and what we do, which is celebrating kosher.
I think Kosherdotcom does what we do on the
virtual
on the website.
Yeah. What would you say? Like, how would you describe Kosherdotcom?
Well, Kosherdotcom is the largest kosher cooking website. I think they have over 14,000 recipes.
Wow.
They have videos and different types of videos and courses, things for kids, from kids all the way through adults. Inspirational
They
stuff.
have art, even like art inspiration, Yom Tif inspiration, Shabbos inspiration. It's really fun to just browse the website. It's really incredible. And so it's just such a good shidduch to work with Kosherdotcom. We're both really have the same vision of what we want to accomplish here.
So we know what the shidduch is. You want to explain to people what the shidduch is?
I mean,
we're producing a podcast, but more than that, we're doing a video podcast.
You're right. So it didn't even occur to me because, you know, it's so interesting. Like, you know something so well and your vision, and then like
for us, it's natural.
100%. But this is the vibe of the podcast. We really want to have a very, you know, sort of laid back, like Farbringen style, we're Chabad. So that's, and we really want to, we're actually very excited to be a part of the Kosherdotcom community. And we really are looking forward to hearing from everyone. And really, like I was saying before, like the idea of the podcast is, I mean, there are so many fascinating conversations that you have, right? Like, you're always coming to me with like the latest
news, latest drama.
Yeah, so we're privy
between
to
the
bloggers,
a lot of, between the restaurants, food companies.
Yeah, we're privy to a lot of news. We travel a lot, and so we go out to eat, and we're always testing new recipes. So we're just gonna have those conversations with different guests on this podcast. I'm very excited about it.
Just to, I guess, illustrate what we were just talking about. In the last year, I had to actually sign an NDA when someone shared information, which I didn't ask for the information about restaurant information, but I actually had to sign an NDA.
Really? I do remember that.
He did tell me I could share it with my wife, but like he was like, you were also under the NDA.
Yeah, so. I mean, I wouldn't tell anyone. You could tell me a secret. I would not tell a soul. But
the idea is here for us to basically take these behind the scenes, take these conversations, and even when we're doing photo shoots, hopefully bring people in, schmooze with them.
I mean, this is our studio, right? This space that you see here, we have a full kitchen downstairs, and that's where we shoot. So it's just like Shlomo was saying, there are so many people that come into the studio. And so to just bring them here, chat, talk about what's going on. I think we'll do like a question box on Instagram. What is it called?
A question box.
A question box.
We could also have people email us.
Yes, maybe we'll send out.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, that's something that we should actually touch on.
So look forward to, for everyone watching, look forward for an email about the podcast. We'd love to hear from you, what topics you want to hear about, and any questions that you have about Fleishigs and about us. Yeah.
because we said Instagram and they were like also email and whatever, it just reminded me that the Kosherdotcom audience is actually a very broad audience.
Okay.
It's people that are on Instagram, it's people that are not on Instagram.
Like me.
Okay. And it's people that may not necessarily watch videos in traditional places. So the video podcast, which will be airing twice a month, is going to be airing exclusively on Kosherdotcom.
Okay, very cool.
The audio will be available on all regular outlets, Spotify, the App Store, and all other podcast places.
Cool. That's very exciting, actually. We interviewed Raizy Freed from Raisy's Cooking, and we actually had so much to catch up on because we know Raizy for years. We all sort of came up in the industry at the same time. Like there was this time period where the blogs opened, people made websites. That was followed by you have a better memory of all this than I do.
Well, when we started the magazine, people actually had blogs. It kind of evolved from there to Facebook for a while was actually very strong. Then it went to Instagram. More recently, it went to TikTok and other social media outlets.
It's so interesting to like think about the history of how food and sharing recipes has evolved over the years.
It used to be your posts were all pictures.
Yeah.
And also every little thing, the way people post a story with not much thought, that was a post. Now, then it went to like every post was curated and thought out.
Exactly. And this is actually a topic that we really touched on with Raizy because we both share this almost like, what's the word? Like a burnout almost with social media because we both feel that I should really connected with her point on this, that we almost have to be like performers and there's so much that you have to do to capture someone's attention, especially on social media, which trains you to just do this, like scroll.
Well, bringing it all back.
It was very therapeutic to have that conversation.
Someone else having
totally.
But bringing it all back, being here on Glatt, having Raizy come join us on our podcast, the Fleishigs and Kosherdotcom podcast, where we discuss all things kosher or kosher travel, kosher food. This is the new social media. This is like the next advanced stage, no?
Interesting. Yeah. No,
I think so.
It's a different form of media. I mean, the irony is that anyone who's doing radio, I wonder what Nachum Siegel has to say about this. He's like, wait, I've been doing this for decades. So it's actually interesting. I
think we're going to have to bring Nachum Siegel up.
I think a lot of old school people or people who've been around the industry for a while are probably like, wait, podcast, isn't that radio? It's just on a different platform. Like instead of putting it on, let's say 1010 AM or FM or whatever, you're now going on Spotify or Kosherdotcom to watch it. It's actually really interesting. Where do you think, I know we're not officially interviewing each other, but I always try to imagine, I mean, we really should be imagining what is the future. Like right now we're in this space of, and then like, is print dead?
Well, we're very lucky. We're very lucky. And we've seen it over the last, how long have we been publishing? 14 years.
Oh, I can't.
But we've seen that, thankfully, in the Orthodox world, print is very much alive. Even in the mainstream world,
I mean,
print is alive.
Cookbooks are flourishing.
Cookbooks are for sure flourishing, but print is alive because even publications like Food and Wine, Food Network, Bon Appetit, they're still out there in print because there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of subscribers, but it's not nearly like what it used to be.
It's not what it used to be for them. You are right. Like in the Orthodox Jewish space, we have Shabbos. And so the concept of print, we're people of the book.
We really are.
We really are. I actually, when we started B'tei Avon magazine, this is way back in the day.
2010.
We were awarded the hottest launch of 2011 by Min. Remember?
Min Award, yes.
It was mamash a very big chashav honor we had. We went to a breakfast
in the Grand Hyatt
at the Hyatt in Midtown.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
We had no clue what we had signed up for.
What incredible memory that is.
And we were with some really hot and exclusive people.
I mean, People Magazine, Time Magazine. And then they called us onto the stage. We didn't even realize they were going to call us. We were really out of our element at that point. But, we would be very excited to get any award. Awards are fun.
But anyways, it's really nice to be back here in 2024 doing a podcast together with Kosherdotcom where we get to interview really interesting people, show behind the scenes of making the magazine.
Right.
And we love schmoozing about kosher food, kosher travel. So having Raizy was
It was really nice. It was nice to catch up, hear her perspective. And then we got into the topic of, and that's the name of this episode, is it hi-mish or is it hay-mish?
Hi-mish or hay-mish.
Yes. Raizy shared that it was very controversial. So take a listen. We think you'll enjoy.
Well, what do we say? We say hay-mish.
We say hay-mish.
We're Lubavitcher, we say hay-mish. Typically, most Hasidim will say hi-mish.
Yeah. But like, what is hay-mish? What is hi-mish? Etc.
Right. Tune in.
Yes.
And without further ado, we'd like to welcome our next guest.
Yes, Raizy Freed.
Raizy Freed from Raisy's Cooking. Enjoy. Thank you to Jones's New York, our current landlord.
Yes, we are located in the Five Towns, and right in the heart of the Five Towns on Central Avenue is Jones's. This is where our studio is, but
our
more
studio kitchen
so,
downstairs, and
yes,
now our podcast video upstairs.
Exactly. This beautiful space that we're in is part of Jones's.
So check out Jones's New York. Jones's, JONESES NYC.com.
Okay.
Where you can actually purchase a lot of these kitchen items that you've seen in our Instagram stories.
They have a phenomenal collection of almost everything you need.
I think even some of the items here are from the store.
Yeah, totally.
Along with some electronics.
Knives,
podcasting.
glasses, cups, glass cups, also musical equipment, and things of that nature.
And they offer bridal registries. They're going to be setting it up a little bit more in detail soon.
Okay,
But,
so that's coming soon.
By appointment, come check it out. Get a gift.
Okay, so Jones'sNYC.com. Raizy Freed is a Hasidic Jewish homemaker, and she is also known as the Jewish Martha Stewart. Is that correct?
That's what they say.
That's what they say. But I think Martha Stewart could learn a few things from you.
No, let's not take it too far.
We are so happy to have her today in our studio.
Any non-Yiddish balabusta can learn from Yiddish balabusta.
By the way,
They can learn from Yiddishkeit. I don't know if it's me per se.
Ooh, I like that. That's very, very true. And something that stands out about you is your very secure sense of identity and Jewish identity and who you are as a Jewish mother and a balabusta, you would say? You take pride in, Raizy really takes pride in setting up a gorgeous Shabbos table, making challah, but at the same time balancing that with being a brilliant entrepreneur. So we're going to talk all about that today. And we're going to catch up because we haven't seen you in quite some time.
Yes, it's been a while.
It's been a real while. So welcome to our studio.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a treat, really, a treat. To
Thank
get
you
to
for
sit and
driving
talk
in.
with you. A really nice treat for me.
You drove in from Lakewood. We're
Yes.
in the Five Towns in our Cedarhurst studio. On your drive, like, are you packing snacks? Are you stopping? What's your travel?
Are
Well,
there
today
strawberries on the way?
Actually, no, but that would be nice. Today I had hot oatmeal because it was my breakfast. And that's
Okay.
what I made for the kids, so I grabbed it. So what I did on the drive or what I ate on the drive?
Well, both, but we were focused
Catching
on the food.
up, voice notes, a little bit of the news, and eating hot oatmeal.
Okay, there. Whenever we travel, we're always like, okay, what's kosher on the way that we could try?
So that comes after this. So we're going to go
Got
on
it.
the avenue,
Oh,
Central
yes.
Avenue, and see what we need to taste.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
okay.
We do that in reverse.
dessert.
What do we do?
Really?
First?
No, because we do Lakewood.
Right, we go to Lakewood a lot. So yeah, then we'll do
But
that.
usually
also
when
as
you
well.
arrive, you do what you need to do, and then you go party with the food,
true,
right?
True.
Most times, not always.
I was gonna say
Priorities.
Sometimes we convince ourselves that we need to stop and get something to eat, but because for us, going out to eat is almost like research and development. So
It's a good excuse.
yes.
Doesn't it take all the joy out of it? Like, isn't it you're constantly working, and especially that you work together? No, I'm interviewing you.
Oh, that is a good
Raizy
question.
is going
And she
into
hit
Raizy
it.
mode, but
Oh, wow.
it's an excellent question, actually. We could do that. That would be fun to do an
Reverse.
interview, a reverse interview. That's a whole different story. Yeah, if we want to go out to eat and enjoy it, the phones don't come with us. It can't be a work thing. So that really
It's
does
challenging.
happen.
It's very challenging.
It's a good question. That's good. But we how many years ago did we meet? We met when you started Raisy's Cooking on Instagram.
Raizy was still in Brooklyn. It was before she went to Lakewood.
Okay.
Yes. When was the first time we met? I don't even remember.
I think my memory of meeting you was there was this food show that was made by Quality.
yes,
And
Jamie
you
Geller.
were on the panel.
Yes, Jamie Geller
And
there.
you were speaking. And that's when I think I first met you in person.
But I think
That
we
was a
also
long
had
time.
interactions.
it was years ago.
For sure, 8-9 years.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. 8-9 years
About
ago.
8-9 years, we had some interactions. I think we were both working for a marketing agency, trying to do
Oh,
some
I
recipe
know.
development for a
Yeah.
for a big Heimish company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It's all a blur. It's all a blur for me. But I do remember
Things
you
are
talking-
coming back.
It was such a different time.
It really was.
It was a completely
Instagram was like
different
just
time.
starting. Everyone
You
was
missed
still
that
blogging.
time? You missed that time?
You know, it's just simpler. Times were simpler.
Right.
Yeah.
I miss it.
It was much simpler. Now it's Instagram changed, social media changed so much. Now
The kosher market has changed.
the kosher market has changed, but I think social media, the way it was then, the way people are consuming content, like now everything is very quick. You need to present a lot of information in like 10 seconds versus like a photo.
By the way, and
know
knowing
what I
how
mean?
to cook is not enough anymore. You need to dress like a model, know how to dance, do some moves. No, I'm serious.
You are
We're
so spot on.
Like look at like what's her name? The big one she speaks in a soft voice and she's dressed as if she's going to like a
Yeah,
cocktail
there's
party.
a big account. I
Nara,
forgot what her
Nara, what's her name?
yes.
So it's not just the cooking in there. There's so much
Is
more.
she
You
also
make eye
making everything
candy.
from scratch?
Yeah,
She
scratch.
made Coca-Cola from scratch
Yes,
last
yes,
week.
yes.
That's the level. You
So
are
I'm just saying,
so
the
right
cooking
about
is
that.
not enough anymore, and
Yeah.
it's just so frustrating as a creator.
It is interesting to say that because I remember, I mean, when you were, I'm going to call it starting out. I'm not sure if it was when you were starting out, but you were focused on recipes. And we were everyone was like posting recipes. We were posting pictures. We didn't even get to video yet.
Yeah.
There was no stories.
Correct.
Snapchat came out afterwards, and that's when Instagram started the stories.
It's very interesting.
But it's interesting to see how it evolved in your case from going from recipe development to doing more lifestyle and then veering away from the recipe. And that's just like a small part of your new show and app.
Did you develop your website and expand it because you saw the shift in Instagram?
Yes. It's two things. First of all, I got fed up from Instagram. One of the reasons is what I just said, because also these reels, they're so much fun to watch, but think about it. To create that 1 minute, it takes hours. You know how many times people just, they just consume it. They don't think, I always think, she filled her whole hallway with balloons, or she made a cake in the shape of a toilet and she cut into it. That took 50 hours for a minute of your
You are
attention.
so
It
spot
is
on.
so frustrating as a creator. So that's number one. Number two, it became a very like a toxic space in my opinion. And nobody's listening anymore. There's no attention span. Zero. I see it for myself, by the way. When I go onto YouTube, I'm going to listen. When I go onto Instagram, I'm just like waiting for that dopamine to hit, like
yeah.
literally. And I'm like, I could be scrolling, nothing's interesting, but I'm waiting for something to make me laugh, for something to make me inspired. My own attention is so different when I'm on Instagram versus a different platform, for example, YouTube.
Right.
So that was one. Number two, I as a person evolved, and I learned while I was very into food, and I still am, and I still take a lot of joy in homemaking, and that didn't change in the least. I realized that what makes a wife a good wife or a good mother is not just knowing how to cook the best chalent or challah, bake the best challah or whatever it is. It takes so much more than that. And I felt like sometimes I felt like just being so focused on food was maybe even a little bit extreme. So I, as a person, I grew and I evolved and I learned more things, and I wanted to share that with everyone, because the whole beginning of Raisy's Cooking started with my love for sharing. When I learned how to make this in the best, easy way. I love sharing. It's a natural thing for me. So when I learned, a different mindset shift that just makes motherhood so much easier, or getting through life and challenges, automatically I want to share that as well.
Right.
So it's the combination of both, where I felt that Instagram, I couldn't express myself, like nobody's listening, literally nobody's there. And me changing as a person and discovering how much more there is to life and how much more we need as women to be successful in life, that prompted me to open the video platform Inspired Living, where we still do cooking and we still do decorating and tablescapes and flowers and home decorating, but we also have categories like Embrace Motherhood, where I interview women that will share motherhood tips. This is what they do.
Is this on your website, raisyfreed.com, or it's a separate website?
It's a separate website. It's watch.raisyfreed.com, but you can get, it's linked.
And you had a book that really speaks, you published 2 books, but your first book really speaks to what you are saying. Did that come before Inspired Living?
Yes.
Okay.
First, the first book, the second
That
book,
was
and
all
then
about Shabbos
then
and
I felt
more Heimish and it was...
But a lot of the Shabbos book was what I really liked about it, and this is what I think makes you very unique in this space, is that you have a very strong sense of who you are, and you really celebrate it, and that's what you did with the Shabbos book, and it was a little bit different than a typical cookbook, where it wasn't 130 recipes. It was a lot about Shabbos. How
She
you
already
feel
had
about
lifestyle
it.
in there also.
Yeah, it was a lot about the lifestyle, and that was something that was very unique. That
I called it a
really
lifestyle
appreciated.
book.
Oh, you called
in
it
the
a lifestyle
non-Jewish
book.
world.
Okay.
Like Oprah Winfrey has a cookbook, and there's tons of stories about how she connected to the canned tomato soup, and how she grew up, and this meant, and she came up from school, and there was the tomato soup, whatever it is. This concept of a lifestyle book is very strong in the non-Jewish market, but in our Jewish world, it's basically very straightforward. A cookbook is recipe, photo, maybe like a little blurb. So it's not a new concept. Maybe in our world, was a little new.
But more than just the lifestyle, I do remember when I was going through it that it was very Heimish. Like even just the china that she used and the different pieces that she had on the table. Obviously, you're going to be using challah knives and you're going to be using honey dishes or salt shakers because that is typically what we're going to have on our table.
What is Heimish?
It's gonna be very controversial. I don't know if you want to go down that route, but if you want, we could.
This is something that we're struggling with. I promise you. We have such a funny story because years ago, you could say
she knows somewhat about it. That's what we were hinting to. But when we were both working for different clients, same clients. But we were trying to develop Heimish recipes.
Okay.
And there's Heimish the way we see Heimish, coming from Chabad backgrounds, and then there's Heimish coming from a Hasidic background. I think even a Hasidic background, because of each sect and where they came from, their Heimish foods are different too.
There's Heimish and there's Heimish.
Oh,
that's also two different things.
There you go.
There's Heimish challah that it tastes like cake. It's so sweet and it's like got raisins inside. That's not Heimish.
What's it?
Thank
So
you.
your
Maybe it
challah-
might be Heimish, but not Heimish.
Is your challah water challah?
Yes. More like it's not a real water. I have eggs, but it tastes like a water challah.
Between Heimish and Heimish.
It's I once did a little poll on Instagram, and it got so heated. I learned a lot of things on this journey with Instagram.
Okay.
One of the things is like these topics that I didn't realize were controversial. For example, saying something is healthy is super controversial. I can make a acai bowl and I would say, a healthy breakfast. Healthy? You know how many sugar, how many fruits, and you're still topping with more fruits?
But you get attacked. Yeah, it's intense.
So,
but everything in perspective.
So you wouldn't
it's
think
healthier than my breakfast. My breakfast is a coffee and cheesecake.
I said it because it's healthier than babka, which is my other choice. So,
and the truth is, by the way, talking about babka, you have Heimish babka and then you have babka. Like I know, growing up in South Africa, babka was a little bit of chocolate spread in there. This traditional South African way to eat it is to slice it, toast it, and put margarine or butter. Mm-hmm. But that's not what babka is here.
Oh, it's more like bread-like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, if you put in Lotus chocolate chips, that's not Heimish.
Right.
Oh, so
That's
that
very
takes away
cool.
the Heimish.
No, we love it, but I'm just saying it's already a whole different.
But we still didn't get a definition in your mind. Do you have a definition?
Heimish is a certain. I would have to really research it, to get the proper thing. But to me, Heimish means Heim, which is homey. Mm-hmm. That's really the definition of the word. It means something that is remnant, that reminds you, reminiscent of home. So that's where it gets controversial, because what you call Heimish, what to you means, what's home to you and what's home to me. So I think Heimish is a Yiddish word. And because it's a Yiddish word, it automatically it's coming from one place, like the Hasidic background and all that.
Is it Polish or is it Ungarish?
Exactly. So that's where it gets controversial. And then sometimes I'm very careful because I know that people get offended. Mm-hmm. I know it sounds crazy. Why are people getting offended? It's a stupid word. But people have gotten offended. In Lakewood Bachlal, there are people that consider themselves Heimish. Why? Because they wear a gartel. Okay, now we're getting into nitty gritty.
Yeah, right.
I'm just
saying.
I
get it. I think the yeshivish world has become much more Heimish.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily eating the
but they're not
Heimish food. It's not the same Heimish that she's referring to, or Heimish.
What is a Heimish Shabbos
to
menu?
Me, a word is, it's a little bit of traditional.
Yeah.
But it's because my tradition is not your tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you come from Chabad, it's pretty similar. But I'm just saying, somebody Assyrian, their traditions and Hasidic traditions. So to me, Heimish is like the Hasidic.
We have to find out how you say
tradition.
Heimish in Syrian and in Persian in each language.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There you go. So what is a Heimish Shabbos menu?
Well, it starts with Heimish challah, which does not have raisins in it. Okay, and there's no.
Not even Rosh Hashanah.
it's not babka, it doesn't have pastrami in it, all the cool stuff. No, nothing. On Rosh
Whoa,
Hashanah,
one
I
second.
might have
Oh, there we go. On Rosh Hashanah, it's going to have raisins.
not raisins. No,
Oh,
it
no?
might have like a sweet streusel topping, which is some people do, but even that, like I didn't see that growing up at home.
In Chabad, you're allowed to have raisins on Rosh Hashanah.
So I don't know about Chabad in that sense. So so it will have gefilte fish and cochineal, which is like the gelled fish sauce. We cook the skin in the sauce and it gels up like that.
I'm going to interrupt you because this is actually a great topic. Like you asking the difference between hay-mish and hi-mish.
Okay.
She calls it cochineal.
Okay.
What do we call it?
You tell me, I forgot.
Fleishigs.
Or
fish
fish yach.
So we
Fish
call it
yach is not
fish
bad. It's Yiddish. Yoich is Yiddish, no?
Yeah.
I'm saying, but
Cochineal
this
is
is
Yiddish.
100%. But for Lubavitchers, we call it fishich. The truth is, my father.
Doesn't make it
Yerushalmi.
less Heimish.
It's not less Heimish, but it is different. First of all, ours was also much more watery. We didn't put that powder to make it or we didn't use carb to thicken it up.
My grandmother didn't put the powder either. There was no powder.
But
She
used
put the
carb.
skin.
She used bones and stuff. Ours wasn't jelly, and we would take the challah and dip it. But that was, again, my father is Ungarish. He comes from Yerushalayim.
Right. I know my parents talk about, I always tell my kids about how simple life was, and that's the example that I use. I say when Zaidi was younger, he had nothing else to eat. They had challah and fish yach, and that's it. So that makes it very alive to them. They're they can't imagine eating it. Do your kids enjoy it?
No, they don't eat it. My husband doesn't either because his father had a fish store, so he has trauma from the fish things.
There you go.
So,
I got trauma with pacha, with gala.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I like it, and that's why I don't make it so often because I'm the only one that eats it. So that's the point.
There
We
you
need
go.
more challah.
Okay, so you have challah, you have gefilte fish.
I think
Fish
we know
yach.
what she has because we were lucky enough to have a Shabbos spread of hers.
That
Yes.
was very
magazine.
delicious.
That was very
She
nice.
definitely had, I don't know if it was a ratatouille. I think it was
Lecho
ratatouille.
salmon.
Lecho salmon.
Lecho.
Lecho is
Yeah, that
another
was very
Hungarian word.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was
Yeah,
a
I
good
think it's
recipe.
Hungarian.
Yeah.
Lecho,
So-
for those that aren't familiar, is like a ratatouille.
Yeah, I guess you
It's
can
a
say
tomato,
that.
zucchini.
For ratatouille, I have the picture of the slices around and the, but it's sort of like diced peppers and tomatoes. You cook it. First you saute it, and then you add tomato paste, and then you pour it over salmon, and it just bakes together.
Do you ever do something with that with eggs? Because for me, lecho was with eggs.
Oh yeah. My mother makes that, and you
Oh,
dip
really?
it with
It's
the
like the
crackers.
same
Yeah. It's
tomato,
like an
zucchini thing
appetizer.
with- no, but not
So it's
hard-boiled, like
hard-boiled
scrambled
egg?
eggs.
Yeah, scrambled eggs in the lecho,
Like an
and you
omelet.
dip crackers in it. That's more of an appetizer. It's a different dish. But that's a real
call that
traditional
lecho.
real traditional dish, not
Yeah.
dish.
Oh, your traditional side is coming out. I
told
didn't
you.
even know about this.
We're Hungarian.
Okay, I didn't
my mother
know. I'm
makes
learning
that
new
too.
things on this podcast. So
Yes.
yeah.
In Meir
This is
Sharm,
so
listen,
funny.
in Russia, they had fish yoich and tomatoes. And in Meir Sharm, they also had the tomatoes, but they had
Right.
a bit of extra zucchini.
Okay, so yeah, the fish. Then we have the soup, and it has to have the lakshin, which is the long pasta, the long noodles, and the kneidel, matzah ball, and then we have the whole main course. It's very traditional. There's farfel, there's disamayim, which is sweet carrots, like
Yum.
timis. We don't just eat it on Rosh Hashanah. We eat it
Timis
every
all
Friday
year.
night.
So, dessert. What's a Heimish dessert? What are we-
Heimish.
Sorry, Heimish.
Apple compote. Apple compote all the way.
But is it beige apple compote or is it colorful?
How do you make your apple?
If you're a real
compote?
balabusta, you know how to make it so it should be nice and pink. And here's the trick, by the way. You put in, what I do is I put in black grapes, the long ones, in a mesh bag. I put it into the pot
witch
with
fingers?
what? Yeah, it looks like a little weird.
They're called witch fingers.
Could be. That makes sense.
Okay.
The long grapes, it's hard to find them, but I'll go to a few groceries to get them, put it in a mesh bag, into the pot of compote, just like cubed apples, maybe a little sugar. Beautiful color from the grapes. And then you
Ooh,
take it
that's a
off
good
and
tip.
you
Oh,
take
so
it out.
interesting.
You don't serve it with the grapes.
And do
That's
you-
a little
yeah.
trick. A
That's very
balabusta,
cool.
a Heimish balabusta.
We have a place, I remember in Crown Heights, one of the our Heimish places, and theirs was like a nice pink. I always thought they had fruit punch in there or something.
And
Some people do. Some people will put in
Yeah.
other stuff, but yeah, we like to try to
yeah,
get it natural.
that's a good tip.
So you're really just doing it for color, not for flavor?
No,
Sweetness?
just color.
Wow.
Maybe it adds some flavor, but not that I know of.
Our next sponsor is Tuscanini's new line of flatbreads, ready to use flatbreads.
Well, it's not just flatbreads. It's flatbreads.
Okay.
It's panini, ready to stuff, and panini. And pizza bases, ready to top.
Yes, we just used it for dinner last week. It was really efficient, really worked out well. Our son, he's 3, he wanted pizza for dinner with olives. Oh, we're back to the olives. And so we used the Tuscanini crust. It was phenomenal, so easy to use, and we really enjoyed it. So thank you to Tuscanini flatbreads and ready to use It's actually a blank canvas for Yom Tov.
Right.
Pulled beef pizza, and that never gets old. So
That really doesn't get old. It's
is
on
pulled
every
beef
menu.
ever going to go out of style?
That's a
Pulled
good
beef
question.
pizza going to go out of style?
Did you know that Tuscanini makes a pulled beef pizza?
Oh,
They
right.
do in the freezer section.
Okay, there you go. So no. Our next sponsor is Tuscanini Olives on the Go and Old Williamsburg Olives. We are obsessed with almost everything that Tuscanini makes, but the olives and the packs are incredible now that Sukkah season is coming along and we're traveling.
Great
It
snack.
is amazing. What
Great for on the
flavors
go.
did you say they come in?
They come in original, spicy, and I think the last one was garlic.
Okay, and
Great
now
for
that
snacking, great for kids, for school.
yeah,
Um,
kosher travel.
Again, olives, olive oil. It's also
Oh,
Italian.
you should add the olive packets to Zev's lunchbox.
We should.
Yes.
But olives just reminds me of Italy for some reason, and Israel.
Yeah.
But talking about
I mean,
Italy,
extra virgin olive oil is so Italian. Totally.
Kosherdotcom actually just has this new video with Tuscany, the series Back to Italy, going through different products, how they're made and where they're
Oh,
from.
very cool.
The other olives are the Old Williamsburg olives. They come in jars in 3 different flavors. There's spicy, provincial herb, and lemon.
Oh, yum. Lemon olives. Take lemon olives, braise it with fish. So the Old Williamsburg lemon olives are perfect for like a Moroccan fish stew. That's what I would do with it. Thank
There
you
you go.
to our olive sponsors.
If you were as Dev, you'd be putting them on your pizza.
Oh, yes.
Although they have to be black.
And what's a Heimish cholent like?
Okay, so I can tell you what it doesn't have.
It doesn't have potatoes.
It doesn't have sweet potatoes, and it doesn't have Coca-Cola, and it doesn't have all these brown sugar. People put in all these interesting things. I don't know.
Do you put regular potato?
I put on Yukon Gold potatoes, yeah.
So it does have potato.
cube
so not
potatoes.
everybody has
I feel like
potato.
the real Heimish ones. is
Yeah,
like
you don't
flesh
have to.
and beans.
Potatoes is not the ikker here.
There's
You
no
don't have
potatoes.
to.
There's no
You put
barley.
kishka.
If you're going to a Gottlieb's or Grill on Lee,
Yeah.
you're going to VIP. Any of these like
We
real
did
Heimish.
a cholent tour back in the day when we launched
Yeah.
Fleishigs.
I saw
And
that.
we went to Borough Park, Flatbush, Williamsburg, and just,
Towns,
5
Lakewood.
towns. And we tasted every single cholent.
Who was the best? Remind me. I read
I
it.
don't
but
remember.
Each place was different. In Williamsburg, we really like Grill on Lee, which I wonder what the story there is because they had a fire recently.
They moved.
They moved.
Yeah.
In Borough Park, I remember we went to a few different places. Dips had a very good yapchik, I remember, because I'm obsessed with yapchik.
I like Yapchik from Yapchik, actually, in Lakewood.
Yapchik from
Oh,
Yapchik.
Yapchik from Yapchik is good.
Very
That is
good.
True. Yes.
Very
Barish
good.
makes some really solid
Yes.
food. He
It's
does.
really, really good. Where do you go out in Lakewood? Do you go out to eat a lot? Are you
Not
that
a
type?
lot.
No.
Not a lot.
So
There's
what?
always those new things every day. So
Did
we're
you
always
taste
trying the latest.
the rosemary green bagel in Lakewood?
I
you
didn't
didn't
taste
even
it.
get
I
there?
don't. No, I did get there. I was.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. It's just not.
Got it.
It's not calling
We were
my
very
name.
excited.
It's a hop.
from the,
It's different.
a hop, yeah.
It's a trend.
Yeah. Lakewood
I had
has
the
a lot of
colorful
things like
bagels
that.
when that was a trend 10 years ago.
Okay,
so
but that
I
doesn't
think
change the taste.
I think I'm still so disappointed from that. That's why the green bagels. I was just like,
this one
okay,
was
it's another
interesting 'cause
bologna.
They actually went with the name. The name of the place was Rosemary, and they made a rosemary bagel, which is green.
Does it
and
taste
has
different?
rosemary flavor.
A
Yes.
little bit. It has
Okay.
like a herby flavor, but they make a very good breakfast bagel.
Yes, they have a
That's,
lot of good
that's our
food.
favorite
Yeah, they have a lot of
thing
good
on the
food.
menu. We're working on a Lakewood article, and we went and we thought we could tackle it in a day. And there is so much in
many.
Lakewood. I don't know what we were
I'll
thinking.
tell you what the
keeps
issue
coming.
is. You
Just
have to
keeps
make
coming.
sure the article comes out really fast because things keep closing as well.
So they
Just
open and close-
saying.
yes, okay.
And talking about bagels, Bagel King has very good bagels
Okay.
in Jackson, and they have a salted bagel with like thick piece of salt on top. That's my favorite.
Like a pretzel or
no,
have
it's just
bagel?
a good.
Did we go there?
You can go to
It's
Jack's.
like
Didn't get
kettle
there.
cooked. I think they call it kettle cooked
yum.
bagels, like really good bagels.
Real deal.
And then the
I
salt
think
is really good.
Lakewood is actually a really good food scene. That's
Now they have
that's
Ishtabach
untapped.
open. Ishtabach. So that's what we ate
That's
this
a lot
week.
of these
fun.
small places.
You have Ishtabach. We got Crave. So
Crave,
Israel's
right.
coming to
And
America,
Tina got
which is the
Mojos.
irony. It's
And-
so
and Tina
ironic.
got
And then,
Mojos.
and then we have like Seared, which is
Wow,
like
interesting
Fifth Avenue.
trend. What?
Then we have like Seared, which is Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
You
We
know,
love
like
Sears. We really enjoyed
Yeah.
it. We
Yeah,
just
we
went
enjoyed that
recently,
also.
yes.
and they've done a solid job. The place is beautiful. The
Yep.
food is really high end and different.
Yeah.
I was there on a date night like 2 weeks ago with my husband.
It was excellent.
Yep.
But even besides,
But that's an
it-
interesting trend, by the way.
What's
Israel
that?
coming to America. I have to
That's
write
true.
that
I
down
never
for.
really thought about that.
We do an annual restaurant issue. I'm sure you've seen, but that's
Yes,
a fun
sure.
little trend to add.
That is. It is
a
a
good
real
one.
trend. I think people want to feel like a taste of home.
People,
like,
so many people now travel, and so many people go to Israel, And these places have obviously been so successful that they're coming here to share it with people. It's interesting.
What I find also traveling around the world, if you're going to Mexico, wherever you go, the restaurants are always Israeli. Did you realize that?
Yeah.
The food is always Israeli.
Yeah.
I want to go to Mexico and have Mexican food there. I don't want to. It's again, the shawarma
why?
and.
You know why?
Because it's simple food. It's easy to make.
It's easy. It's low overhead, easy to make.
You think that's the reason?
I think it's a big
falafel,
reason.
hummus, and all that stuff is
And
all carb.
yeah, and it also appeals to not just kosher travelers. Maybe a few not kosher people in the area would also enjoy some Israeli food because they don't always get it. I know when we go out of town, and it's always a falafel store.
It's simple Israeli
You're
Heimish
right.
food. Israeli Heimish.
Yeah.
It's not Israeli. Okay. You see,
schnitzel,
that
shawarma,
is
and
like
falafel.
just. I wish I could think of an analogy right here, right now, like how that sounds. Like Israeli Heimish. Israeli is. I love Mediterranean food. I love it. My husband is Israeli and lafas and amba and everything, and schog and harissa, but it's not Heimish. Israeli no.
Okay, fine. We're going to remove the word Heimish from that sentence.
No, you can
Heimish
leave
is
it.
Heimish. That's
but
so
it's
funny.
interesting. Like when we were in Mexico, we were in Zadun, and they had their menu. Their daily menu had a lot of classic items, different American, whatever. But each menu had every day one different Mexican dish, and we tried it every time we ordered that one dish just to see get a feel. 'Cause it
To
is
like
what-
try something new.
yeah.
Yeah, that is
Although
true.
talking about Mexican, Lakewood has something that a lot of places don't have. That little place Taquitos. I thought
The question is if it's still open.
It's still open. But I'm not crazy over Mexican food. So I know I said I want Mexican food, but I didn't mean to present.
You want to eat the authentic food of the
The
place
street
you're going to
food,
visit.
the culture, yes.
So in Lakewood, what's your go-to?
In Lakewood.
Or you don't have a go-to.
Hamisada. With the
Okay.
kids, if I want like not too expensive, good supper, hamisada,
But that's going to be
solid
falafel,
Israeli.
shawarma, schnitzel.
Yeah, but with the grilled chicken there, it's moist.
We didn't make it there
It's
either.
not dry. Just take the grill. It's nothing groundbreaking, but I'm saying when I want just good food, I didn't have time to make supper.
Right.
I don't want to spend $200, $300. I'll go there, $120. I'm out with a whole family supper. Israeli salad, schnitzel, grilled chicken, and then you can also have the hummus platter, and
Right.
the shawarma and all the other stuff. But we usually take their chicken soup is actually good chicken soup. It's not like powder. It's good.
Oh, that's a surprise.
I can say the word Heimish.
Unusual.
Yeah,
Oh,
I can even say the word Heimish. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I want to get to something that I know that I think you both, it speaks to both of you.
Yeah.
I know Schiffer likes blintzes, and I've definitely seen you do blintzes because I remember seeing a strawberry sauce.
Palachintos.
What is a Heimish blintz?
That's a very good question because you could fill it with anything.
You could fill it with anything?
Yeah, meaning the Hungarian palachintos, which is the crepes, filled with stuff. They had it filled
Palachenko
with
is the actual
liver.
crepe?
I don't know. Is it the crepe or is it the filled crepe? I don't know. I'm not sure. I have to ask
Okay.
my grandmother that's no longer
But
alive.
you have liver blintzes, you have milky blintzes, you have all different types.
Yes, you can fill it with cheese. You can fill it with labid, like with liver, with vegetables and a mushroom sauce over it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, anything.
This is like off the food topic, but I was just thinking about it because I was thinking about your website and the shift that you made. Where did you get your sort of business sense, your entrepreneurship from?
I don't know.
No? Were you always like that or it came later on? Like as a kid, were you always creative, thinking of new ways to do things?
It's definitely had that leadership a little bit,
Okay.
and that I know where I take from. Like my grandfather is a very big person in bells. He's actually the Gabba from the Bells Aruv. If you know Hasidus, he's the one with the white. Actually, there's two with the white beard, but okay.
He's one of them.
Yeah. So I think I take the leadership from him, not dafka, not entrepreneurial, but
Right.
it sort of works hand in hand.
Right.
And he's also a creator in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did you have a lot of opportunities or like to create, to be original, to take leadership roles growing up? Or is that something that just sort of as you started your Instagram page, you grew into it as you matured and like got to know yourself more?
I don't think I had a lot of opportunities. If something, I had a lot of pain because I never fit it in. Because I was so out of the box. Like, and I always wanted to create. I didn't just want to follow and sit in class and listen and like it was boring.
Right.
Because I had so many more plans and ideas swirling around in my head. I couldn't do anything with it. My daughter is exactly like me now, and I feel bad for her because I know exactly what she's going through.
Right. So
she
what
actually
was it
still
like?
likes school, but her mind is like running on like.
Okay, so now your childhood self is like being is coming out, which is really cool. But what was it like growing up with that type of personality?
I was always doing something.
Oh, so you were?
Yeah, I was Scrabble King, so I did like chassan albums. I don't know if they did it in Chabad, but like sending baby pictures in a pretty album for the Kala. Did they do something like that? It's called a Chusin album.
Oh, that's cute.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would do scrapbooking, and I made it into like a little business.
You were making for other people.
Right, yeah. I would decorate your Chusin album, which is pictures of your son that you sent to the Kala for Shabbos Nachmi.
People hired you to do this.
Yes.
How old were you?
High school, probably like 10th grade. But I did other things. I did puppet shows. That was going way back.
That's awesome.
I graphic design. I always did something. Did something.
Cool. And you seem to be somebody who learns on the go. It's not like you went to a business school or college, I assume.
I figure it out.
You figured it all out. That's very cool. So how'd you figure out making a website?
I don't know. And to that I say I'm just very driven.
Okay.
Because technical is like, when my children come home with a form that I need to fill out, then I have to check like my income, my this, my that. It lays on the counter for a week. I can't get myself to do it. I hate technical numbers. But here I did something that is so not my type, like coding and figuring out Google and Apple and how the apps are going to work.
So you did all the technical things.
I worked together with a company, Vimeo, that helped me, but I had to do a lot of, the forums and the back end work. I had to work with them to give them all the stuff, and that was torture for me. But I was so driven, and I saw the end goal, and that's really
what was your vision when you started?
This platform for women where we can get to hear these conversations that I wanted to hear. There's so many topics that the magazines won't write about, the From magazines, but it's still stuff that we need to know as women.
Like what?
Like, let's say Tahara, Samashpacha, different things, you know.
That's the type of content that people can find
that
you're sharing. So you do a variety.
We have a lot of categories, everything from parenting, motherhood, self-growth, marriage, cooking, decorating your home, overcoming challenges, everything.
I love it.
So obviously in the marriage category, there are those topics, but it's
Is the app also good for guys, or would you say not?
It's for women.
It is for women.
Nobody's standing and checking who's watching, and there's definitely some things you could watch with your husband, of course. I've showed my husband different episodes.
Right.
Okay, now that you mentioned your husbands.
But you have to, I'm just saying, from a marketing perspective, smart. I can't, it's for women.
It is for women. Okay,
yeah, I mean, that's what I really admire about you. I think you're always very focused on who you are, who you're talking to, who you're creating content for. And that's what makes content so powerful and translates so well. It's when you really focus on what you're doing and you have a goal in mind. So that comes across.
As the lone guy here now.
Yes.
So I do know your husband, and I know that he's been involved with your previous businesses, if you want to call it, and he's also a big foodie.
Yes.
Was he involved, or is he involved in this new app and this new venture?
Yes, very involved. Very, very involved. I mean, we flew to Israel, we filmed episodes, and he arranged the videographers there, the printing of my books, he does all the overseas stuff. There's so much that he's involved in, the parts that I don't have patience to deal with.
So you work together with him?
Yes.
Very cool. So it's nice to have that
now
support.
He's also doing a lot of different things. He has his own businesses. So at this point, it's, I've hired the right people. But definitely, that's what got me off the ground, and that's what got everything so solid. The first year of Inspired Living, he was fully into that. And now that we were able to,
No, we definitely used to see it. We used to see the two of you together,
we were together
making
everywhere.
a Shabbos table and whatever it was.
Yes. It's nice to see that. I think people probably like that content, seeing your husband involved.
Yes.
Yeah. What you're able to see the back end of the website, which is always so interesting. Are you able to see what content people love the most? Or I'm also curious, what food content people love the most? What are people always gravitating towards?
So it happens to be, I don't know if you're gonna like this answer, but in Inspired Living, the top episodes are not the food ones.
That makes sense. So also, the top
I feel
episodes,
food they can get in so many different places. Kosherdotcom. There's so many different places.
Okay.
I'll be honest with me.
That's
I bring a unique voice to food, and people definitely appreciate my take and my Heimishkeit. But I'm saying the other stuff that I'm doing, not many people are doing for the From audience, girl to girl talk about, our language, our struggles. So those are definitely the top. And then organizing. A lot of the organizing episodes also are way up on the top, like we did with the personal organizing. When we went to the container store, we showed different ways to fold laundry and making, homemaking.
Yeah. It's very interesting. The whole organizing, it's a whole new world. That's a whole new business. So many people are going into it. It's actually
so that's another category in the homemaking.
So you have a whole episode dedicated to organizing.
3, I think, but now
3.
4.
I was going to ask, there's so many parts of the home.
Yes.
So you're going into the kitchen, you're going into the dining room. That's really
there's
fascinating.
There's more than 4. There's a one in the playroom, 5. I have to count this.
Okay, so there's a lot to see.
And there's still more to come always.
So you are running this really, I would say, time-consuming website. How do you balance that with your kids, Shabbos, dinners? Are you super organized? Is it just a clear sense of priorities? Like, how do you approach it?
So it's like any working mother. I am very organized with my lists and my things. And I also have the benefit, because it's not social media, for example. Oh, it's social media. You can also schedule. What I was going to say, I batch my work. So I know Yom Tov is coming up. I finished filming this week. And I'm not filming till after Sikkos.
Okay.
I'm still working. I'm still checking edits. I'm still doing other things. But at least the heavy filming days where I come home late and I'm like exhausted and I can't be... Like this, I
think I'm inspired to cancel our shoot, which is in between Rosh Hashanah and Sukkot.
I was just going to say, it's 2024. The hot word, it's work-life balance.
Yes.
Do you do consults? Maybe
consults for?
To help people find that work-life balance.
Not really, because I don't think I mastered it. But I'm just saying, you said canceling the shoot. Is this something that really, like I planned it already in July. I know I have, my summers are very busy. I don't do any like summering, if that's a word.
So you'll work a lot in the summer.
Yeah, if something, my winter is more relaxing, just because I have also less energy in the winter. In the summer, I have so much energy. The sun gives me so much energy. The days are longer. You can do photo shoots. It's lechtig. It's bright outside. So... so the batching the work is definitely an amazing thing.
That's good. And that's, I guess, the advantage of the way businesses run today, where it's not necessarily like a 9 to 5. So it's an advantage. You could batch it. And then it's also almost a disadvantage, because then you could do it forever.
Very interesting.
Also, you never get a break.
Yeah.
Because it's either you're focusing on family, either you're batching so you can focus on family.
Exactly.
No, but you just touched on something that's interesting. People that their whole mitzias, their whole being is social media. They've got to be on all the time, and they've got to be creating content. And even if they schedule it, there's like always that, like, oh, something came up, let me go quickly and post it.
Right.
But if you're doing other things, and social media is just one of the elements and one of the parts of it, if you're able to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
Sponsorships as an influencer also come on the spot, meaning like people right away before Yom Tov, you'll get all the people that want to come for Yom Tov. Some companies are very ahead of time and they'll tell you, but usually from companies, everything's last minute.
It's our struggle.
So it's
we go
the
to
busiest time for you as a mother, and then it's the busiest time in business. It's very, very, very.
We find that very challenging. I mean, printing the magazine is the hardest. Our Russian issue came out over the last week. Many of the hay-mish companies they didn't even think about the Rosh Hashanah ads. They're going to start thinking now, and they'll put it out that week before. It's very challenging.
And to us, from a marketing perspective, like, we don't find that it makes a lot of sense. You're advertising for Rosh Hashanah, the day of Rosh Hashanah?
Like, give me an example. What are you advertising?
Let's say you're advertising honey, or you're advertising pomegranate juice. Why are people putting in their ads on a Rosh Hashanah issue that everyone's eating over Rosh Hashanah? Or a Sukkot product, and everyone's going to read over Sukkot, the big Gesundta issue.
That is like a statement. I think everyone needs to have their ad in Mishpacha and Ami, like the Get Yom Tov, like it's sort of like branding.
Yom Tov is one thing. I believe branding is great, but if you've got a new product, a new pomegranate juice that really people are going to use for Rosh Hashanah,
right? You
want to get out a month before so that people can actually go see it, buy it, and use it.
Yeah,
right. That's
my pitch.
We try that each issue of the magazine comes out about 3 weeks before the Yom Tov. So that's the challenge of balancing that timing, which is better for our readers, with the timing of the marketing agencies. But yeah, that's a whole different topic. What's your favorite dish to make for yourself?
I generally like
Besides
warm
hot
things.
Oatmeal.
I like warm.
Okay, there I touched on it.
Shakshuka.
Okay.
If I'm thinking about lunch, like even just like grilled zucchinis with tomatoes and balsamic. I like warm food. I also like acai bowls, but I like warm food. Soup I like. Farina. That's very Heimish. Farina. Gris. You know that gris? You know the word gris? You know the word gris? You know the word gris?
What's gris?
It's so funny. I always thought it was a Yiddish word, but it's actually a Hungarian word. That's how you say farina in Hungarian.
Oh, really?
Oh, no. My mother had another word for it. Mamalige.
Never heard that.
Mamalige.
For farina?
Is that farina or is that polenta? I think it's polenta. No, I think mamalige. They're similar. But
so what is farina, by the way?
What?
What is farina? For those of
you buy it in the boxes. The box. I don't know.
Is it like
wheat?
Gris is it's Hungarian.
It's like a wheat cereal. Okay.
No, we know the box. My question is, are you making it with? Is there butter in there? Is it all made on milk? Is it made on water?
Milk and butter and all the good Sachen. It's very not
no
healthy.
Water. Using milk.
You could make it with water probably, but like the Hungarian Heimish way of doing it is like fattening, and you give it to kimpatudins, like mothers that had babies, and
that's
it's like,
nice. So farina's Heimish.
It became like that, I think. Yeah.
Do you put salt or no salt?
I think it has to have a little dash of salt.
I do salt and sugar. I don't need the cinnamon, but I like the salt and sugar.
You're talking afterwards as a topping or when you're cooking it?
I put a little when I'm cooking it at the
Yeah,
end
you're cooking in
also.
the water. You always put the salt
No, but
before.
at the end also.
When you make hot oatmeal, don't you put a little salt?
I'm very busy with the farina conversation.
Oatmeal, I'm not putting salt in oatmeal, but in farina, when I make it, and I really enjoy a good hay-mish farina, I used to go around also Borough Park, Williamsburg.
Yeah,
I found
he's always coming
Grill
back.
on
with
Lee,
farina.
I think it's called. No,
No.
no, Grill on Lee is Fleishig. One second, Lee. Cafe au Lee.
Cafe
Yes.
Ali was good.
Delicious
But
farina.
the best one
Is?
was Zoom. You know,
Never tried.
on I think it's on McDonald, right
Yeah.
near Shomer Das.
Okay, you gotta try that.
They were doing construction there for a couple of years on the gas station. That gas station.
I just
farina,
remembered another good farina.
We need to do a farina crunch.
Hava Java in Munty's farina
Yes,
is
yes,
crack.
yes. I've had it. It's very good.
Crack.
Yes, it is very
Really?
good.
Oh yes,
Next
you did get
level.
it there, and
I've had it more than once. It's very
you
good.
enjoyed
That's
it.
you see now you see the food I like.
Okay.
Popcorn farina, very healthy. No,
And-
shakshuka's healthy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It has protein, and it's a good one.
Vegetables.
And what are you making for dinners? What's on the menu tonight? Well, you're
Tonight
traveling.
I have no idea. There's
Yeah.
leftover meatballs and spaghetti. What's for dinner? Like my go-to or my favorite?
Go to
Your
favorite?
go-to.
My
the
go-to
kids'
is
favorites.
probably like grilled chicken, Israeli salad, couscous.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah, that's like because it takes also so fast.
Yeah.
Grill pan.
So
inside.
your way of cooking at home is a combination of Heimish
Yes.
and American.
I guess so. What's
kind
what's American? Grilled chicken
See,
is
you're
American.
having spaghetti and meatballs. You're having
Spaghetti and meatballs is American. Okay, pinked, you know? But yeah, I don't stick to one thing. I don't follow whatever I feel like making, I make.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I have to say the Fleishigs magazine, how long is it? 2 years or 3 years?
6.
6 Cut that out. I sound
Literally,
ignorant.
I was going to be like
said-
4. I was going to say 4. Don't worry.
I
6?
think we're coming up on 6 years
I
now.
can't deal
Wow.
Hanukkah, Hanukkah 6 years.
But the next thing that I was going to say, I keep on marveling every time I open the magazine that it's still not boring.
Thank you.
I'm waiting for it to get like dried out and it's not. Every time you're reinventing the way. It's like, oh wow, yeah, oh they're covering this, of course. But like you have so many issues already that I would expect it to get like, okay.
Yeah.
But there's always something new. It's amazing. I don't
That's
know
so
how you do
nice
this.
to hear. That's very nice to hear. We really live the
It's nice to
the
hear Shifra's
content.
having a hard time taking ownership for that, but Shifra gets credit for that.
Okay.
Keeping it nice and fresh,
Right.
coming up with interesting ideas, staying on trend and before the trends.
Extremely on trend.
Right.
We're both very passionate about food. We do bounce the
Yeah.
ideas of each other, but Shifra is.
Never get burnt out.
He's talking about it. Of course I do. I actually, just to have an honest conversation, so really it was very challenging when I had my last, he's my baby, but he's 3 now. That was so hard to balance.
Remember when you were expecting?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, what is with my mind?
No, my
it doesn't
mind
feel like 3
is-
years. It feels like a year ago.
It literally feels like a year ago. So that was obviously very challenging. I think it's very hard to balance like having a new baby come into the family and then, have work and all those responsibilities. So definitely that's a challenge. So we all do. I think we all have moments where we get burnt out a bit, whether we're working, whether we're not. What do you think about that? Do you ever get burnt out, or you like?
I
are
do,
good
but
with your
I also
batching?
I feel like maybe you can do that within Fleishigs magazine. I'm sure when I get burnt out, sometimes I just shift gears, which means okay, now I'm burnt out of food, so I'm gonna focus more on like the decorating. And now I'm burnt out of making tablescapes. Like how many times did I get flowers and the burgundy? I'm so bored. Okay, let's focus on goulash. Okay, now you know what I'm saying. So
Right,
I
you
feel
can
like I
always
have
shift
more
gears.
a leeway.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really cool.
We're kind of like stuck with what we're doing.
Yeah, I
Although
guess
we
so.
have, it is interesting. I mean, you're talking about burnout, but the times have changed. The food trends have changed. The way people consume both magazines and social media has changed also. We've gone into more travel. We've gone into doing more events. When we started Fleishigs magazine, we didn't realize how many events.
Right,
and
we
things
do a
were
lot of
doing.
events. Yeah,
Like
restaurant
Kosherdotcom
opening.
was, we didn't expect that when we started.
Right.
The cookbook launch parties and the different events
yeah.
in restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
It helps keep it fresh. It also translates into the magazine. But
Right.
that definitely did change, I guess, in our favor.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. So where could people see the content that you're sharing, and what could they look for?
What could they look for? I think they could just browse Inspired Living,
Mm-hmm.
watch.raisyfreed.com.
Okay.
And I think it speaks for itself. Like you'll
Okay.
see the videos, just watch the trailer. And then of course, Instagram, Raizy's Cooking, RAIZYSCOOKIN.
And your 2 cookbooks are still available online?
Yeah,
through
and
the
that's on my
website?
website as well, raisyfreed.com.
Very nice.
Amazing.
So,
Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you for
us. This
having
was
me.
so
This
nice.
was very nice.
It was so nice to catch up and just get to know you
Yes.
a little bit more. So
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Anyways, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed. We'd love to hear your feedback. Hit us up on Instagram. Hit us up by email, hello@fleishigs.com. Check out Kosherdotcom for more episodes, over 14,000
Actually,
recipes,
One of
videos.
the recipes that are on Kosherdotcom is the Montreal braised brisket, which is a whole other story because it went viral in the funniest way. But you could search for it. It's a great brisket recipe for Yom Tov, actually.
So definitely
Yeah.
check out Kosherdotcom, Fleishigs.com to subscribe. Subscribers get the app for free with
Yes.
over 6,000,
Such
no,
a good
sorry, not
feature of our
6,000,
subscription.
6 years of recipes.
6 years worth of recipes. And what we really pride ourselves on at Fleishigs is that we produce what we call ungoogleable content. I really can't say enough how the content in the magazine, we work so hard to do this, but the content in the magazine is not available on the internet. I'm telling you, every issue has so much new information from the travel to the recipes to the stories to the interviews. Fleishigs.com.
Thank you, and Shana Tova, we hope to see you soon.
Yes, we're looking forward to hearing from you as well.
It's kosher, it's Glatt. You're listening to Glatt. It's all Glatt.